Is this the end of Europe's middle class? Today we're going to analyze some of the most recent developments in Europe, what Europeans can expect going forward, and where they can move to find greater freedom. The reality is that Europe, and most importantly its citizens, Europeans, are squeezed like never before. Europe's average tax to GDP ratio is 40%. France's ratio is about 45.6%. Italy's 41.7%. And Germany is sitting at about 40.6%. Now, to put this in perspective, the US stands at approximately 25%. Now, there is a positive trend happening in Europe in 2025, and that is illegal border crossings are actually down during the first 2 quarters of 2025. Illegal border crossings dropped by about 20% this year. The key issue in Europe are the ultra-high taxes, the low birth rate, low fertility rates, and the fact that wages just aren't keeping up like they used to. And on top of that, Europe got a serious uncontrolled migration problem that seems to have gotten a little bit better this year, but numbers are still way too high in 2025. Now, in the good old days in Europe, you had to enter the country legally before you could apply for any kind of benefit that country offered. Whether you wanted to move to Austria, Holland, France, Spain, or even Italy, it didn't matter. You had to enter the country legally first before you could access welfare systems, before you could get any type of social benefit from that specific country located in the European Union. The whole premise of the European Union was to bring economic benefits to its citizens and legal residents. Everyone was talking about the great benefits the EU would bring. Economically speaking, nobody was talking about the migration issues the EU would bring with it as a big part of the deal. And today it seems that the EU is more of a political union than an economic union. The economic aspect is still there. However, the EU outsourced its manufacturing to the East and also transferring a lot of jobs to the Far East, obviously creating big deficits in Europe, not just trade deficits, but also job deficits. Many jobs have gone extinct in the European Union. They no longer exist today. Certain manufacturing jobs that used to be super popular in Europe and even the UK no longer exist in 2025. Jobs that existed in the 90s have gone extinct in the 21st century. One of the biggest issues that Europeans are facing in the 21st century is that they're paying into a pot that appears to be for them, but the reality is that that money may not be accessible to them in the future. If you're an EU citizen and you have paid money into the system so that you can access certain social benefits, guess what? That money is no longer available to just EU citizens and residents. Today, if we look across the EU's biggest metropolitans, we see that a large number of people who registered for social benefits don't even belong to that country. They're not citizens of that country. They're not even residents. And worst of all, many of these people don't even live in that city, in those cities. They don't really exist there, but yet they access your hard-earned tax money for their benefits, not yours. That's the reality of living in Europe's largest metropolitans in the 21st century. There's so much waste that Europeans are finally having enough. They no longer believe in that system the government sold them decades ago. And you know what they're doing? They're raising your retirement age. They're reducing your benefits. They're paying you less. And on top of that, inflation is still out of control. You can't afford to rent a home anymore. And yet they're giving government housing to people who migrated without a valid visa. Let that sink in for a moment. Citizens and legal residents are becoming third-class people in that country. And people who entered without obtaining a legal permit are being prioritized in many cases. In Vienna, 50% of people who register for social benefits, who register for social welfare, are not citizens of Austria, are not even residents. Most don't even live in that city. That's how far we've gotten. Now, the ever-increasing taxes that are caused by uncontrolled migration, and of course also the root of all evil is the low fertility rates, the low birth rates. That's the reason why uncontrolled migration started in the first place. But since Europeans are having fewer babies than ever before, governments have no other choice. In this case, the EU doesn't have any other choice but to raise taxes, but to raise the retirement age, the minimum retirement age, and to further reduce your benefits. They're not putting citizens first. They're not putting residents first. They're not putting anyone first that's in those countries on a legal visa. They're putting the newcomers first, because those people are prerequisite for sustaining life in Europe. Hardworking professionals, business owners that pay their taxes legally and diligently, and good conservative families are pushed towards the edge. They can no longer afford to live a good life, a good middle-class life in Europe. Taking vacations 2 to 3 times a year has become a distant dream. Even for good-earning families, it's no longer possible. The rising energy costs, the ever-increasing rental prices, and the sky-high inflation is making it difficult for middle-class Europeans to thrive in the 21st century. So many are considering an exit. Many are considering a relocation to a developing country where they can afford to live a good middle-class life. And of course, all of that is contingent on either A, being a business owner, or having some sort of location-independent business or income that allows you to live in an emerging country where life is much cheaper, where your euros go a lot further. Now, if you choose to continue paying into a pot that may not belong to you, then that's fine. You can continue on this path and hope for the best. I truly hope that the money that you're paying in is actually going to be accessible for you, especially during your retirement years, your golden years. Your nest egg should always be protected. But today, fact is, there's no guarantee. Nobody can guarantee you anything in this time. The only guarantee that you have is yourself and potentially your investments. If you have them in strategic locations that are outside the EU regulatory system, the new digital Europe could be used as a control mechanism to control your very own spending. While digital Europe promises expedited processing, reduced processing fees, and more transparency, the reality might look very differently for you and for every EU citizen. The fact of the matter is that the digital euro and ever-increasing taxes in Europe erode the purchasing power of middle-class Europeans, making them an extinct species in the 21st century. We're only going to have rich Europeans and poor Europeans. The middle class is dissolving more and more year by year. As time goes by, more people will have problems paying the rent. More and more people will have problems paying for food. More and more people have problems even thinking about going on a vacation. Is this 21st century communism? Well, the EU's leadership stresses that the replication of China's system is put in place for a good reason, and that is to protect the interests of EU citizens. The reality could look very differently. Now, if you're interested in leaving the EU for good, reducing your taxes, and finding greater freedom abroad, I want you to consider the following options. Paraguay is a country located in the heart of South America that is home to a territorial tax system where income generated from outside Paraguay's borders is exempt from taxation in Paraguay. You just cannot bring the money with you into Paraguay. As long as you have the money generated outside of Paraguay and you have it in a foreign bank account, which you can also withdraw money from while you're in Paraguay, then that money would not be taxed. Likewise, if you have some kind of foreign business activities that happen outside of Paraguay and not within Paraguay's borders, and that business abroad generates an income, then that money would also not be taxed. So any employment income, any corporate income, any investment income that you have abroad that you want to consume in Paraguay, you would not pay taxes on that income in Paraguay. Now, money that you generate from within Paraguay's borders or money that you bring with you into a Paraguayan bank account, now that money would be taxed, but you're not going to pay more than 10% in local taxes. You just have to become a resident of Paraguay to get access to Paraguay's territorial tax system and very low local taxes. To sweeten the deal, the cost of living in Paraguay is much lower than in most EU countries, and the quality of life is actually quite great. The weather is warmer throughout the year, the average temperature is higher, there's more personal freedom, family values are still booming, Christianity still matters, and the government cares less about you than in the EU. Paraguay offers one of the easiest second residency permits in the entire world. EU citizens get visa-free access to Paraguay for a period of 90 days, and they can apply for Paraguayan residency while being on a tourist visa in Paraguay. All you need is a clean criminal record certificate and a valid EU passport. Paraguay does not require you to prove economic solvency or invest money to obtain legal residency here in South America. Now, if you're interested in obtaining Paraguayan residency, please book a consultation with me today. Go to nomadelite.com and click on book a consultation. I look forward to helping you obtain residency in this beautiful country located in the heart of South America. Now, if you're interested in moving to a more tropical country, a hotter country, consider moving to Panama, a country located in Central America that is also home to the territorial tax system. Like Paraguay, Panama will not tax your foreign sourced income. Now, to qualify for Panamanian residency, you have to have a passport from an eligible country. So if you're an American, EU citizen, Canadian, or Australian, you qualify for Panamanian residency. You must have an income of $1,000 monthly. You could also start a business and hire Panamanians to qualify for Panama's residency. Other countries that we recommend are Uruguay, a country that is home to an 11-year tax exemption. So if you're European, American, Canadian, or Australian and you want to come to Uruguay, you may qualify for an 11-year tax exemption where you don't pay taxes on foreign sourced income. Uruguay is very European, it's very modern, and it has great healthcare. Now, if you're interested in obtaining Paraguayan residency and would like to take advantage of Nomad Elite's September 2025 specials, again, go to nomadelite.com and click on book a consultation. You can save anywhere from $550 to $3,000 on your package this month. If you sign up before September 30th, 2025, our Plan B package is on sale this month. You save $550. You only pay $2,200. If you're interested in our Relocate package for Paraguay, you get a $1,000 discount this month. You save $1,000 and you only pay $2,950. And you get full support for moving to Paraguay. We help you with your residency, your national ID card, bank account opening, tax number, and many more things to establish yourself in Paraguay successfully. Now, if you're ready to relocate to Paraguay, Uruguay, or Panama, go to nomadelite.com and click on book a consultation. I look forward to talking to you and welcoming you to Latin America.